chestnuts roasting in the open fire, or else you'll get some frostbite in some unexpected places.
What was that? It was like a scream.
Something else.
You go with him.
Run.
Those things, they really are what you say they are.
Hey man, we got big problems.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we need a way out of here. What the hell are we still doing here?
Couldn't agree more. Grab the door. Vampires.
Listen, they want you to run. They're hunting you. Yummy.
We don't know what the hell she is.
Do not lie to me!
In this world, we're the hunters.
Checking in.
Boom, there you go. That was a trailer for Silent Bite, streaming right now. Go check it out. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. Joining me to talk all things Silent Bite is first up my pal from the NRW, Heather Hurt. How are you, Heather?
Surviving another day.
Another day in the apocalypse. I love it. But she had the pleasure of interviewing our special guest for today on another great film called The Mousetrap, a little bit of a riff on Steamboat Willie. We're talking to the one and only actor, writer, producer, star, Simon Phillips. How are you, Simon?
I'm good. Good morning. I hope you are well. And Heather, I hope you're more than just surviving. Come on. Let's start positive.
Good. Sir, you are safe up there in the Canadias. I'm just going to say it. You're safe. Here.
Listen, I am safe, although I will tell you that today it started snowing and it won't stop for 4 months. So, this. So, yes, I'm safe. Yes, but yeah.
Would you rather political upheaval or snow? I'm kind of.
No, I'll take the snow. No.
Well, I think Toronto looks really good there, sir. So I don't know about you, but I have a lot of friends in Toronto, so I might be heading that way in 2025 if
come on, guys. It's safe here. I feel like I should stand at the border going, come on, guys.
I'm ready. I love Toronto. Shout out to all my Canadians out there. Love y'all. But Simon, again, you're great, man. Thank you again for talking to Heather and about your project Mousetrap. You now have Silent Bite, perfectly timed for the holidays.
That's right.
I got to tell you, it's a makeup of a lot of things Heather and I both love. We love Halloween. We celebrate Halloween pretty much all year round with like Spirit Halloween. And now we are getting into the Christmas holidays. So kind of mashup of these two was really cool to see. Can you tell us where the genesis of Silent Bite started? When did the apple hit you on the top of your head to start putting fingers to keyboard or pen to pad and write Silent Bite?
I've always been a fan of like Christmas horror, to be honest. So I quite like doing it because I like, subverting that. A horror movie at Halloween is kind of predictable, but a horror movie at any other time, I saw some Valentine's Day horror movies, or sort of other holiday horror movies, and you're like, oh yeah, I like that because it turns the holiday on its head. Thanksgiving horror and Christmas horror, So I've always liked this sort of idea. So this is just a mashup of. I'll tell you what the exact idea is, just so you know where I stole this from. Is Reservoir Dogs meets From Dusk Till Dawn set at Christmas. There you go. That's the whole. That's how I pitched it to everyone.
Okay.
As a huge fan of all that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, but if you see that, you take all those stories together, and you're like, oh yeah, the Reservoir. It's a bunch of guys hold up, trying to lay low immediately after a robbery you do not see, sort of, and then it's From Dusk Till Dawn, and then it's set at Christmas.
I love that. And as a filmmaker, with especially independent filmmakers like the both of us, kind of like one location to a degree, from what I saw setup wise. So like you can save on costs.
Yeah. It would make it easier to film. It's certainly one big complex,
Yes, exactly. Because it's like, because you have different setups within it, but it felt like, you could kind of trap it in one and kind of keep it together.
Yeah, I like that. Whenever I'm making these sort of movies, I like the idea of isolating people because that's sort of scary as well, So.
Wonderful. So when the apple hit you in the top of your head, you started writing. Can you tell me just like kind of like the framework in your character of Father Christmas? I like the young lad in Prancer, your tech wizard that you had, and there's a great conversation piece that you have with him as kind of like the youngest member of the crew. Can you just tell me, just kind of piecing it all together and then leading into casting all the various characters you have in the film?
Sure. Like I tell you one thing. All of my friends are in this movie. So I've done a few movies over the years. So I've managed to build up a lot of friends, and I have a load of friends out here in Canada, who are very talented actors. So when I wrote this movie, I did something. You may not be familiar with the process. I actually had like printouts of their photos, so that I imagine their voices. As I wrote the dialogue for them. So I knew that, for instance, Nick Biscovich would play the Grinch character because he's always a bit of a grumpy fucker, and he plays that really well. So I can imagine his voice doing it. So when I'm writing the script, I actually just wrote his name. I just wrote Nick.
That's great.
Me go, Michael will sound like this, Nick will sound, and I just wrote it as with their actual names, So when they got the script, they're like, Nick was like, I assume I'm Nick, and you're like, you are, but I'm going to change. You'll see that your dialogue calls you the Grinch, but I mean, just for the sake of this, for the sake of you reading, and then it also helped them because some of them know each other. So Nick knows who Michael Swatton is, who Sailor is, so they know each other. So they go, oh, that's and that's Simon, that's they can hear my voice and I can hear theirs, and so it's all that. So casting was really a product of script writing, because it was I showed them the script, and they were like, and we filmed in January, February of this year, and I was like, it's going to be a quick turnaround, guys. Nobody was doing anything. So I was like, come on, like it wasn't in Toronto. It was like very north Canada, like very north. So
are you actually in Toronto?
3 hours more north than Toronto. So it was much colder, much more isolated. But I was like, come on, we'll all go. And because we all know each other and because we all liked each other, it was a pretty easy sell. So I got 90% of the people that I wrote it for is actually who I ended up putting in it.
That's awesome. And there actually was, I remember seeing a little bit of an in-joke there of what you were just saying, of like the naming conventions, because the crew kind of argues that in the film. That's hilarious.
Well, that's my Reservoir Dogs. Do you remember everyone wants to be Mr. Black, and they're like, no,
yeah.
No one's too popular. Sorry, no. So that way, my little nod to that is the argument with Grinch about him wanting to change his name.
I dig that. That's awesome.
There you go. So we're talking about, that group dynamic, that family dynamic that you've actually built with many of your cast. How do you transition when you are producing, when you are writing, when you are getting out there? How do you transition and talk to them about different films? You're not making a Mousetrap anymore. You're now making Silent Bite. Like, how do you set the stage for different points of view, different acting types when you're using the same people over and over?
Well, because I know the people, I think it goes the other way. It's a good question, but it goes the other way because I know who they are already. I know what their their default is, So I was like, I'm not pushing them here. That like this is something that's in their wheelhouse very much so already. So in terms of style and stuff like that, in the tone, I kind of mentioned to them, think of it like a horror comedy. Now, obviously, when we sell it as a horror movie. I was like, however, I kind of want us to have a Reservoir Dog style. I was like, there is inherently a lot of black comedy in this, so it's pretty dark at places, but it's fun like that. I had also made a couple of Christmas horror movies before this one, The Nights Before Christmas, Once Upon a Time with Christmas. So I'd actually made things. So when I'm approaching these people who I do know, they know what type of movie, what kind of thing I'm going to deliver them, So I was like, well, I'm always interested in something that has a wink and a nudge to the camera. It's slightly heightened. It's not too terribly realistic, and I want you to have fun making it. And I believe if you have fun making it, that'll sort of bleed into the footage, and you'll feel that as an audience member. I hope, anyway.
You said something similar to that with Mousetrap. So I really want to touch real quick on what you just said. This is not your first horror movie. You've been Santa before, haven't you? Been a killer Santa? Did I see that right in your past?
Yeah.
So
that's right. Yeah. Why?
What you said other holiday movies are really fun. Like I have a Halloween jack-o'-lantern pumpkin cat amongst my Christmas stuff, so I totally get it. But what makes Silent Bite so different from the other Christmas movies you've made, and why is Christmas so much fun for you? Because you've made 2-3 other films, I think, in Christmas. Is that right?
Yeah, Christmas horror. Yes, if you like, subverting Christmas. I'm also, my other job, which I definitely shouldn't talk about right now, is also I act in Hallmark movies. So
I saw that you have a Hallmark movie coming. Yeah,
I love it. I love that.
So this is my thing. People on the Hallmark movie going, "Is this you?" And they're like, "Yes." Well, I go, I have to do this because these movies make me physically sick. I was like, so they're too sweet. They're sickly sweet. So I was like, then I have to go make Silent Bite to feel better about myself. So I'm in.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, I shouldn't. Definitely shouldn't say this because Hallmark would be like, "Oh, really? You don't like, sort of like all the money we throw at you for being in these movies, sort of like, yeah, no, I love it. Yep."
So that's the money movies. These are just what you do thanks to Hallmark. This is an appreciation of Hallmark, right?
It is really an appreciation. There we go, Heather. That helps me. This is just making it full, sometimes. No, so it's what's different about this movie opposed to my other horror movies is actually I feel that this movie, although it's about a bunch of strangers together, it's all about family. It's boys versus girls, but the boys are all one family, the girls are all one family, sort of. So there is a bit of a family, sort of tying together. And actually, the two people that don't belong, if you manage to screen the movie, are a guy called Luke, sort of who plays Blake Prancer, and the girl Camille who plays Jeannie, sort of. So they're two people that are sort of in the wrong place at the wrong time, and actually they're the heart and soul of the movie. They're the innocent people, if you like. Like he shouldn't be in part of the crew, the tech guy, and she shouldn't be. She kind of wanted to be a vampire, but obviously she's just run away from home and she's just trying to escape something rather than she's in over her head very quickly, as is he. So those two people, which are interestingly.
Oh, we got a little bit of a lag.
Writing it.
There we go. Simon's back.
So they are actually. Oh, right. So did I cut out there on you?
You're good.
Yeah, just repeat the last sentence real quick.
Okay. So Luke, who plays Prancer, and Camille, who plays Jeannie, they are actually the only two cast members I didn't know when writing the movie. So it was kind of good because they're also the two new additions. So they're the two people that don't belong, whereas everybody else I knew, and everybody else knew each other. So. Actually, they've worked perfectly in that position.
Wonderful. In regards to that, one of the scenes that kind of took you, well, I wouldn't say it didn't. I was gonna say take you out of it, but it's not take you out of it. But it kind of gave a little bit more heart to the hysterics of watching of what's the occurrences of the film is when you and your character, a Father Christmas, and Prancer are like sitting outside. He kind of disturbs you a little bit. Because he startles you. You don't want to startle a man whose temperature is up right now with everything happening, right? Which was just really cute. But then you kind of lay down some words to him as the young and experienced lad who's here with a crew that knows what they're all about, but he's not so sure of himself. As an older gentleman myself, we're both kind of older. I have a kid. We're imparting wisdom to the young ones. What was it like writing that scene? Because I think. When we kind of put ourselves sometimes in a way, even though we're writing a script as writers, right? But there's also just that imparting of knowledge to educate the young one to make not the same mistakes. I really appreciated that moment. Can you talk a little bit to that scene and kind of, putting yourself into that role?
I mean, absolutely. Same sort of vibe, coming through, definitely. And I wanted to do something where, this kid, he represents a bit of innocence or naivety in the movie for me. So I definitely wanted to have a scene where I was like, "Hey, look, man, you don't belong, but you could belong. You just need, here, but it's a mistake, And I wish, I guess, at some point somebody had sat me down by a fireside and told me the same thing, because maybe I wouldn't be here, But it's too late for me, but it's not for him, So it's that sort of word of warning, and obviously sometimes it falls on deaf ears, but sometimes it hits people at the right time, So it doesn't mean, these sort of statements, these sort of scenes, they go, well, that's nothing. An old person trying to tell a young guy what to do is maybe fruitless. And you're like, maybe it doesn't mean we shouldn't try. People must, that's the good thing about that is like maybe it doesn't work at all, but that doesn't mean it's not worth doing. So
wonderful.
That's why I like it.
Wonderful. Yeah, I really appreciate that moment. It's just like, okay, because I do that. I'm called Kuya that's like what I go by, which is in the Philippine language, big brother. We're like the ones that kind of give the wisdom to the next generation, so they don't make the same mistakes we did. So I really appreciated that moment. I want to talk real quickly about the production. You said you filmed this earlier this year. For my filmmaker friends that watch the interviews I do, being fellow filmmakers, we know like just making the film. Can you tell me just how long, how quick, maybe some of the lessons learned for you as a fellow filmmaker, turnaround into now promoting, and Silent Bite is out there again, streaming out there, everybody right now. So go check it out after this interview.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very quick shoot. It was 8 days it took to shoot the movie. So I think we were up there about 2 weeks in total. We had some prep time and some rehearsal time. But in terms of actual shooting, 8 days. I brought on a crew from Buffalo up in New York, and they came up to do it with their director Taylor Martin. So it was all, the director had her own people who I never met before or anything like that. So she was a female director. She just took to the script fantastically. So it was up to her to execute the movie, really, sort of type thing. So, but I gave her a reasonably easy task because the script was there, the location, it was written around a location. It wasn't like we wrote it not knowing where we were going to film it. We already knew where it was going to be. So
is the Jolly Roger a real hotel restaurant? I'm sorry.
It is. It's a real place. They're loving all the.
So we could visit the Jolly Roger.
You can definitely visit the Jolly Roger. In fact, the Jolly Roger would love that. They're loving it.
I love stuff like that when you can actually visit it. I'm sorry.
No, it was good. Yeah, but it's good. And the guy let us, and the guy let us take over the hotel. To be honest, nobody was there. Because it's off season for them. Like, this is not one of those hotels that's busy in the winter normally. So that's why we were able to film it. And we all stayed at the hotel. It was like 8 days of night shoots. So it was like we're all like zombies, or all like vampires. Probably that's a better way of phrasing that, isn't it? So yeah, but it was great fun. And to be honest, I didn't learn too much in the process. This time, because having made movies in one location before, I know how to write them so that they are easier to film. I don't write very complicated sequences that you go, how are we going to film that? I kind of knew everything we did. I kind of like, I know how we're going to film that. I know how we're going to film this. And then it's up to just execution then.
Okay. Well, then can I ask you real quick before Heather throws one more at you? Because I think as creators, we like to challenge ourselves then. So if you didn't challenge yourself on this one, what is, and we'll kind of maybe close out with some other projects you have that we can look forward to, but what kind of a challenge or what kind of a project would you like to do next that would create that challenge for you as a creative?
Well, this was still a challenge. It just wasn't a filming challenge, So my thing here is I'm always trying to get the balance right. So the balance for me is horror comedy. Now that's a real tough one. Either you can make something and it's too funny, and then people are like, there's not enough horror in it, or you make it too, and somebody is lost on it. So yeah, to be honest, the balancing here was in writing it and just getting the tone of the delivery, and so that you would, you'd either be, you'd get that whole boys versus girls sort of sense of stuff. So yeah, that was the thing. So each movie has a different challenge. I knew that executing this one wasn't going to be with it because there were so many things that we did know. Sometimes you don't know.
Got it. Okay, so then to close us out, to finish this up, I actually wanted to start us off with one of the questions. And I'm sorry, go watch Silent Bite. I'm going to kind of shift out. You need to talk to me. Last time we talked about the Mousetrap, you said you couldn't talk to me about a whole bunch of upcoming events. And I think like a week after we uploaded that, there was a picture of you with a sneak peek of what could be the Pooniverse. Are you going to be joining that universe?
No, I'm not joining the Pooniverse. No. We're not. Are we allowed to say this yet? No. Yeah. Oh, we are. Okay. All right. So I'm just making sure that I'm not going to land myself in trouble here. Well, I've said it now. Anyway. No, but we are expanding. We're calling it the Mickeyverse. We're definitely allowed to say this, right? We're calling it the Mickeyverse, right? To challenge the Pooniverse. We want a big face off, if you like, sort of. So the world is getting definitely a little bigger, for sure. In fact, it's going to be our biggest movie ever, I'm sure. So yeah, that starts filming early next year, but it won't be out till the end of next year. But yeah, it's coming, and it's coming with a lot more characters. So like, I'm probably not allowed to say who, but Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, I
saw that picture, and it was just ironic that it was like a week after it
Well,
during our interview. You're like, I can't talk
Yeah.
about it. I can't talk about it.
Well, I know the guy that's Craig who plays me. So we are friends. So, anyway.
Perfect.
Anyway, we're not allowed to say any more than that, basically.
Okay. All right. Special sneak peek, but nothing else here.
Yes, that's it.
Wonderful. Well, again, let me remind everybody, Silent Bite is streaming right now. Go check it out. The amazing Simon Phillips, and also the Mousetrap that we mentioned as well. A lot of projects Simon has out there. Go show love, show support. There you go. Go pick it up, Blu-ray, DVD, all the things. Simon, before we get up out of here, is there anything else you'd like to shine a light on? And as those other projects come along, we'd love to have you back to give you your virtual flowers and talk it up. Give you the last word.
We've got a very exciting 2025 coming up. Just before next week, I don't know why they release all these things at the same time. We've spent all year making them, and then they release them all in the same month. Next week, we're releasing, or December 13th. December 13th? Yeah. December 13th, we're releasing What Lurks Beneath, which is like another horror movie, but set on a submarine. A stowaway who is a mermaid. Yeah, who's a mermaid. So that's one coming out called What Lurks Beneath, and that's coming out December 13th. Again, I've no idea why the geniuses that do these things release them all at the same time. I have to talk about 9 things all at once because they've decided to release them all together. I won't even talk about the Hallmark stuff. They do that themselves.
Go check his IMDb. You can see it there.
Exactly. It's easier. It's far easier.
Awesome. Well, there you go. I will have all of Simon's links in the description below. Go check out Silent Bite. Go check out the Mousetrap. And very upcoming soon, as of this recording, the What Lurks Beneath. We'll definitely be checking for that, Simon. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. Everybody, the amazing Simon Phillips, Silent Bite, out right now. Heather Hurt. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World.
Thank you, guys.
There you go. Recording. All right, here we go. In a 1, 2, 3.